is yet to be seen a complete, insane hard counter that makes the blind pick Orianna not viable.
I don't know if there is one, Deficio.
I don't think there is.
For years and years and years, this champion has been relevant.
Yeah.
We jump into picks and bans. A huge respect ban. First out the gate towards Jesiz Thresh. Then the Cassio, Caitlyn Kalista is standard. Elise is high priority. Zac went unpicked and banned in the previous game.
So G2 eSports, if they are afraid that Fnatic will grab us on AD carry in the first phase, then they actually want Tristana and Xayah to both be open if they want to go for the mobility style of AD carries. Because first pick, we're still looking at, you know, different champions, like Elise is a valuable first pick for certain teams.
Yes.
Zac is still considered a very strong pick. Right now, we see the Java being taken away from both sOAZ and Broxah at the same time.
Yeah, let's see whether or not Elise follows suit. It does. Don't want to give that one over to Trick. Definitely not going to be left open. So G2, first pick.
I mean, at this point, like, things like Gnar, Tristana are actually not surprising first picks because they just consider so valuable. They take that Tristana. We just mentioned how they need to make sure they can get a mobile AD carry for Zven. Tristana is the safest of all of them right now. And I wonder if Orianna comes in from Fnatic here. I would just grab it, honestly. I think the pick is just so good and it's valuable for both mid laners, but they don't go for it.
Not this rotation. Instead, going to steal away the Gragas. Of course, Trick played in the previous game. sOAZ is going to get his Gnar once again. I just expect want to play a counter because there's no top lane bans here at all, really. I mean, yes, of course, for Jarvan, but definitely a comfort pick if this Rumble gets locked in.
Yeah, and this is obviously a little bit opposite compared to the Jace. Jace was all about dominating your side lane, and then you don't want to really join teamfights too often. Rumble, of course, would be the opposite of actually, you know, looking to join fights. The Janna from Mithy was very successful last time he used it. They might just go for their double tank in the front, 2 strong carries in the back, and then Mithy to protect the carries. That means Orianna should come in here for PerkZ if that is what they're looking for. Otherwise, Orianna might just get banned away in the next phase. Of course, they have to respect Azir could come in for caps as an answer. That might be one of the reasons they don't go for the early mid.
No, like late in the split, Azirs have failed on the EU LCS stage.
I know.
More than they have succeeded.
But he's good.
Yeah, of course, of course. There are many good Azir players in Europe. But late in the split.
See, that's the Orianna.
Early in playoffs. Anyways, there was a Maokai to close out the G2 phase 1. It's the Orianna. Didn't come as early as we were anticipating.
Well,
but the bottom lane is now targetable from Fnatic.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world for PerkZ because there is still things like Taliyah. He can pick against it. There is the potential for Azir as well. I just want to put that out there once again. Fnatic, of course, can take away like mid laners because they have the advantage already with Orianna being locked in and try and pinch the champion pool off our good friend PerkZ in the mid lane. The Maokai, though, coming in simply also because they don't want to risk all the different tank junglers getting removed from Trick's side now that Gragas was already locked in on the side of Fnatic.
So that Maokai, you're expecting in Trick's hands more confidently than top into Gnar?
Yeah, for now I'm expecting it in Trick's hands. But Gnar is so annoying because, again, if you want to like counter pick him, you're looking at Jace, and we know how hard it is for a lot of European teams to execute the Jace. So you often have to go for something like a Rumble or Kled and just kind of accept that the lane is a little bit annoying for you, but you're still very strong once you actually team up with the rest of your guys and team fight. So that might just be the go-to choice for Expect.
All right, let's see what happens. Rakan, Jay, Syndra find themselves in the ban pool as we jump into phase 2.
I mean, this one I just want Taliyah then for PerkZ. He's probably right now trying to tell his team that Lucian is open and he should pick Lucian against the Orianna, but I definitely prefer getting the Taliyah. But if he's going to play Lucian, then they need a Rumble top lane to get a bit more magic damage.
I don't know if I wanted to play Lucian.
No, I always have the same feeling.
Although his 1v1 on Thursday against Nagne under the tower, that was insane.
Oh, we had Karma.
Let's see what Fnatic, how G2 respond. This is their first Maokai all split, whether it's going to be in Tricks or Expect's hands. Armor's going to work out. Ardent Sensor Rush a possibility.
Yes, do it! Give me that Azir.
Lock it in, PerkZ. Lock it in. Maybe 10 seconds left. If that is,
it's also really good against Gnar. It's really good against Gnar because when he bounces towards you, you can use your ulti to push him away. Okay, so now we're looking at Lucian mid with the Rumble lock-in happening that we just mentioned before. Or could it still be the Taliyah or Azir? I know I'm mentioning a few different champions. They're all possibilities right now. But when you show the Rumble, there is the chance of Lucian mid because you have magic damage top.
Only that one tank, and it will be in Trick's hands in the jungle. And the Lucian mid is the most expected. It's the most practice for PerkZ on the EU LCS stage.
Hurts
it
my
will
heart.
be locked in. So how do Fnatic respond? They need an AD carry that can somehow deal with Maokai, somehow dodge a Rumble on the back end on that equalizer.
Well, it's a lot less tanky engaged compared to before. So you can actually lock in an AD carry that does not rely on a ton of mobility. I don't think Xayah is necessarily a must here compared to being like a ton of hard engage. And it seems like Rekkles agrees as well with his pick because he's actually right now looking towards an AD carry without extra mobility.
Yep.
And it will be the Ashe coming in. And I think this is fine. You're not as afraid of the G2 engage this time around compared to that Alistar Gragas combo we saw in the last game.
Yeah, definitely not the case, although still some answers actually to deal with those Ashe arrows. Deal with people jumping in.
I mean, the thing I like about Fnatic's bot lane here is the laning phase is really good.
So annoying.
Janna is not a strong laner, so when you play like Karma plus a strong early AD carry, which Ashe is one of them, like Varus could be another one, you could really try to win this lane hard against G2 eSports. And then you look top lane, Gnar, fine matchup against the Rumble, and mid lane you have Orianna, one of the safest and best laners in the mid lane. So Fnatic are packing some very good lanes here. Obviously, PerkZ on Lucian, always snowball potential. You pick the Lucian to say, I need to win lane so I can snowball the game. If that gets shut down by maybe a gank from Broxah, suddenly G2 eSports might find themselves in a situation where multiple lanes are getting pushed down.
Ganks by Broxah, ganks by Trick. Trick's going to bring some CC. Now, something that we talked about a lot with this Maokai, you'll see in the team composition, not a huge amount of enabling CC in the lanes. Maokai obviously will bring that point-and-click route.
Very true.
And let's see if it's going to be at the right time to punish Fnatic. Whereas on the other hand, the Bop Body Slam can definitely work out for Broxah and Fnatic. G2 take on Fnatic right now, game number 2. I want it to go to game 3, I do not lie. I want another game of these two teams bashing, because this is, again, potentially a finals preview. There's no ways that they can meet in the playoffs before finals due to the reseeding rules, and I'll explain those in a moment or two.
But this pick and ban phase from Fnatic, I really like it. I think with the Orianna takeaway, they get such a good scaling mage for Caps that was very impactful in the last game. They have a strong 2v2 bot lane where they don't have to be too afraid of the engage on the side of G2 eSports. And G2's comp, to me, relies so much on PerkZ actually having a strong performance in the mid lane on this Lucian here. Because if you look at the normal setup with a Janna, it is the 2 tanks in the front, 2 big carries in the back, and then Janna protecting them. They don't have that here because it's a Rumble. He's not a massive frontliner.
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh, starting W in lane for Zven. Not going to be a huge impact. At least he doesn't push the wave as hard at level 1. But where is the rest of G2? Do they respond with any deep vision?
They do. And saplings.
Ooh. Empowered saplings.
They're gonna steal his raptors.
Oh, it's the Maokai skin. I actually would have liked to have seen the surprise party one.
No, you always
Just
have to go
because-
long cats.
Yes, but it's Broxah's birthday. So you could have given him some presents and lobbed him that way. You know? It's always nice.
Fair.
And you know what? I actually, props.
I just feel
Thank
like-
you very much, Berlin, for actually singing to Broxah when he came on stage. It was during an ad break, but huge props, guys. It's like one dude give me a thumbs up, so thank you for that.
He probably wasn't even singing.
Yeah,
He's just taking credit.
He looks like a
He's
singer.
yeah, it was me. It was
He's
me.
got a bit of a hipster beard. He looks like a singer. I think so. Anyways, G2 setting up to catch out sOAZ.
That sapling!
He's already flashed. First blood available and given to PerkZ.
Hey, you remember that point about the Lucian getting ahead being really important for G2 eSports, so he's actually useful? That's a pretty good start.
Is this the evolution of the Fnatic bush, and you just call it the Camp Fnatic early game?
I mean, I guess...
Not really.
But I don't know, sOAZ walking in there in the first place to check if anything was actually happening. That was just really risky, because they 5-man invaded bot side. You should expect your top side to be gone, or at least very risky. I think he's just going down to check if raptor camps are being taken by the Maokai, and it's like, oh, surprise, here's Expect, here's PerkZ, you did. That
Got
sucks.
dunked. So assists for Trick and Expect.
Oh,
Broxah was able to smite away the big raptor. I think that was what I saw there. And in terms of summoner spells, sOAZ no flash top. So that opens up another opportunity if Trick wants to do some cheeky plays.
But hey, look, in the bottom lane, it's the Karma Ashe lane pushing. What a surprise. This is, again, a very tough lane for Mithy and Zven to play. Jesiz right now with the Karma, we're seeing more and more of these shielding range supports getting back in the meta. Most of it coming in from Janna being picked, and then you want to actually try and counter-pick the Janna. And things like Lulu, Karma work there to try and win the laning phase and still add a lot of shielding. And you know what both supports are trying to do here, Trevor?
It feels like you're going to say rush Ardent Sensor.
They're trying to rush Ardent Sensor.
I've heard this discussion a whole lot about how powerful it is.
And the best thing is both supports admitted on Twitter that they've been practicing clicking Ardent Sensor as fast as possible in the shop to complete it as fast as possible. It is actually where support mechanics have gone towards. How fast can you click on Ardent Sensor in the shop?
Well, we'll find out, because there's a race on, and as it stands, Jesiz with a little bit of an advantage. Trick and Broxah trade a couple of blows in the jungle. This Trick leaves himself a little sapling. Now remember, no flash on sOAZ, but I don't know if you really want to tower dive him when Broxah's in range.
Well, let's see, they're gonna fight it at least.
All right, gets the smash down. Trick's looking for Broxah. Little kitty cat will chase him down. We won't see the death though, as PerkZ slides forward.
Remember,
gets a couple autos.
PerkZ did not go back yet, so he's not actually used the gold from the first blood just yet.
A little bit of damage traded as Caps gets the summon a heal from PerkZ.
And that was not a good trade here from PerkZ, losing out on that one. Caps with the cleanse, not gonna help him against the Lucian at all, but is picked for the late game when he's team fighting against the Maokai. I think maybe the cleanse is a little bit overkill here, but he's definitely respecting the fact that Trick could camp the mid lane, and it is always an option to run cleanse here against some of these CC junglers. Also want to highlight, Zven is running cleanse on the side of G2 eSports. They've moved the heal over to Mithy. This is something we've seen quite a few times around the world now here in recent weeks. Again, wind speakers, heal support with Ardent Sensor. It is just a lot of healing coming and shielding, and then you move your AD carry summon spell to something more defensive, in this case, the cleanse.
Sven managed to pick up that cannon creep as he moved into the wave.
But why doesn't he have a relic shield?
Don't know why he doesn't have the relic shield. Not going for the GP10 build that a Freak of Freaks tried earlier today.
Well, the supports are with... I was looking at them at least, and it looks to me like they both have GP10 runes.
Nice.
So they are looking to...
Listen, you've explained this, Deficio. It's the rush Ardent Sensor.
It really is.
It really is.
Don't go Sizedon anymore in the early game. Just get that first item. Don't even go boots. If you buy boots, you mess up. It's that simple. I
love solo queue tips with Deficio. All right, by the way, Fnatic, they won that last game. That means the head-to-head between Fnatic and G2 is now 16-8 in favor of G2. Of course, as G2 rose to prominence here in Europe over the last year and a half, Fnatic have struggled. They've not been as powerful until this split, until this summer, where Fnatic are now in the semi-final and they're fighting back.
All right, Trick looking for the mid lane. Again, remember, Caps with that cleanse to try and help him if he gets camped. Broxah and Trick once again fighting for jungle camps. I feel like we've seen this before in this game.
Yeah.
This time around, Broxah gets a few, then Trick gets a few, and then they...
3-1 if I saw that. Trick smites this one away. Remember, Broxah smote the earlier one.
Always fighting for Raptors. Trick's Raptors are actually up right now.
What do you think of the Moby Boots first from Trick?
It's always a risk because you're, of course, investing heavily into early ganks and not getting actually useful boots for team fighting. But I personally like it if you are trying to win early lanes, which is what they're trying to do with the Lucian mid. And, of course, also the Rumble top, trying to apply pressure. So I think it makes sense for Trick. Hard for him to go bot lane because there's a Janna, which doesn't really set you up that well.
Yeah.
So it's all about him playing around solo laners for now until level 6 for Zven, and you can actually start ganking that lane.
Well, as it stands, 10 CS deficit for Sven and Mithy. That's somewhat expected.
And notice again, no boots.
No boots.
Supports. No Ruby Crystal to go towards Sidestone. Rush on Sensor. It does mean there's less vision on the map.
Okay.
Especially around bottom side compared to normally where you have early Sidestones coming in. Not in this case here. Trick is actually sneaking his way down. Sven's level 6 must be fairly close at this point.
Well,
this will be a surprise gank.
Where's the CC? Trick has to find the right target. Flashing heals available. Rekkles is the target. He flashes forward. Takes Trick under the tower. Heal already used. Now Jesiz and Rekkles trying to turn it around. No buster shot available to Sven. And Broxah's coming down through the river. Body slam flash available. Jesiz flashes forward. Looks for the root. Finds it with a W. Split between the uprights as the Ashe arrow finds nobody. Summon a heal. Keeps Mithy alive. A few seconds longer. Mithy lives. Sven continues to push put the hammer down on Broxah, and Fnatic unable to turn that around.
Oh, that was such a greedy gank here from Trick, going all the way down to the bottom lane, where it's a Janna Tristana lane with 0 wards on the bottom side to actually know where Broxah would be. He went for the dive here, or with the dive, went for the gank. Rekkles suddenly turned it into a tower dive because he flashed back in towards his own tower, and suddenly G2 eSports found themselves overextended, but they actually stayed alive.
They did indeed, and when you look at the flash economics, Fnatic end up spending more. Rekkles and Jesiz flashless for the next few minutes.
But that should have been a first block for Fnatic. They should have been able to kill Mithy right there, but he just stayed alive. Level 6 was actually already there for Rekkles. The arrow did not connect. Zven gets his level 6 now. Mithy is a little bit behind.
Deficio, it's a 20 CS advantage. Again, it's expected in the laning phase. Ashe plus Karma versus Tristana Janna.
And once again, they're playing to just... Oh, let's see. There you go. There we go. That's why you need that.
How far back did they have to dig? Did you see this tweet?
No, this was today.
Was this today?
Yeah, yeah. G2 eSports put up these little posters of like the support matchups, and they both replied with how fast they could actually buy an Ardent Sensor. It truly is the golden or the glory days of shielding supports.
We're looking at the rush now. We're looking at
no
who's
boots,
going to
no
find
side
it
stone.
first.
You're not allowed to buy anything else than things that go towards Ardent Sensor.
Right, that's all you need. Mithy and Jesiz also racing towards level 6. First kind of like items slowly trickling through. Expect and sOAZ have gone for the boots.
They're dead even in gold as well. The supports 2,200 for both of them right now. So they are making sure they follow each other towards this Ardent Sensor pickup. And then once it's completed, you can really start playing around the bottom lanes.
Absolutely the case. Ashe Arrow catches up Mithy. Remember, he used his flash earlier, and the support from Caps coming down. Mithy not going to get rooted, but Caps going to get the kill. The attack dissonance does it.
So while Fnatic had to pay a lot first to start the little investment here, they had to use a lot of flashes. They got the key flash from Mithy.
Yep.
And now they cash in on that investment by calling down Caps, securing that kill onto Mithy.
And of course, scumbag PerkZ not calling SAS quickly enough. No, that's not
classic.
fair. That's not fair.
I didn't see any pings.
Great roam from Fnatic.
I mean, what can you do? When you're already near the wall, you can't really dodge this arrow in time, and
no.
Caps is already here, and you've lost your flash, so it didn't even matter that Fnatic had no flashes.
And more importantly as well, Zven flashed 2. So now Zven flashless.
Ooh.
Rocket Jump will help him out though.
Even more important, assist for Jesiz.
Gives him the race.
He's slightly ahead in the race for Ardent Sensor.
And of course that tweet earlier, Jesiz has been practicing his APM to click Ardent Sensor as quick as is possible. Unfortunately, the new champion's not in the game yet, so you can't buy it on the move, but he will get it soon. Anyways, look mid lane. Trick's coming in some CC. Culling gonna get body blocked by some minions. Mithy's here to support as well.
Oh, Mithy with the assist.
Assist on Mithy. How's the gold, Deficio?
Right
How's
now,
it shaping up?
Oh, 60 gold advantage for Jesiz only. So the fact that Mithy gets that assist is important.
Well, of course, Jesiz sitting inside the lane. He can pick up some of those coins. He's going to be able to use that GP10 bet as sOAZ is in trouble. Oh, that looked interesting. The cats come down. That will root sOAZ in place. Gnar's already timed out. Hyper comes out. The Bramble Smash gets the kill.
All right, Trick with the Moby Boots. Remember, it's actually paying off right now. Succeeded with a few ganks, getting PerkZ further ahead in the mid lane. Blade the Rune King already there. We're still waiting for the supports to go back to base.
Well, Deficio, as Fnatic pick up this Infernal Drake, this will be their 34th Infernal Drake of the split. They are 10 behind G2, who have secured 44. Ashe Arrow flying wide and expects going to sidestep it. And that's going to mean he's going to at least get delayed.
Just delay him, and also in case there were some TP setup happening from G2 that could have interrupted him. Let's see, this is just a simple gank from Trick onto sOAZ, and of course sOAZ getting on the tower with the flash, and then Trick just tanking it up as much as possible. And let's just say calculated, just calculated.
Was that flash a second too early or later?
Oh, wait for it.
Shockwave comes out. His Trick summon a heal used from PerkZ to keep him alive a few seconds longer. The culling was on cooldown, so he can't find more. Fnatic get a kill onto sOAZ.
All right, so right now we're still looking at the 2-0 Lucian for PerkZ, but at least a kill going over to the Gnar. sOAZ last game was kind of denied in the early game on this Gnar here. Had some good team fights, but he really wants to get into this game. It is currently a matchup for him where with a few more items, he will start winning the split push.
Yeah.
But then it's all about team fighting at that point almost, because Expect and sOAZ are going to look to join the teams, or you buff up these AD carries with Ardent Center, and you have 5-on-5 team fights. I mean, there are 2 AD carries on G2.
Twice as efficient on that Ardent Sensor. Let's see whether or not...
Mithy.
He hasn't got it yet.
There's no double shield either. There's 1 shield, and then he needs to do something else.
Maybe he can get a locket and then shield everybody. We'll see what decides to do. Of course, the Monsoon will help out there, Deficio, but that's going to be a bit of a fight reset. As the race for Ardent Sensor continues, it's pretty close CS across the board. It's an even gold game.
And it really is. 50 gold difference. Jesiz is recalling. He's going back to base to click on that Ardent Sensor.
Hit that button. APM advantage. Jesiz will win the race. Look at the minimap. Look at the items. Oh, the sensor.
Game over.
Did you see, by the way?
That's game.
Did you see how quickly it appeared in his inventory?
Very
Jesiz
impressive.
was spamming by while the recall completed.
Very impressive. Good mechanics.
Level.
Jesiz gets it first, Mithy second.
It's just, you know, Silver, you're the first loser. Like, it just doesn't count anymore.
It is disappointing. That's why they're only second in Group A.
Here we go. Second in Group A because he's got the second fastest Ardent Sensor mechanics this series. But Mithy, last time he roamed mid, was helping out PerkZ get a kill.
He's using Ardent Sensor.
Comes it down. Shockwave catches out Mithy, and PerkZ is able to just run down Caps. Real easy with the help of that flash.
And that's just unfair, right? When a support with Ardent Sensor walks mid, buffs up their AD carry, there's nothing you can do here as an Orianna. sOAZ is still fighting in the top lane, but it's not really been about the top laners in this game. It's been a battle of PerkZ getting buffed up by Mithy now. Classic move here. Good solo queue advice, by the way. As soon as you get Ardent Sensor, start going towards the lane where fights will happen, and then shield or heal someone.
Go towards the lane that needs to get the early advantage. The Lucian, as it were, 3-0 at 15 minutes. Blade of the Rune King completed, and you know, PerkZ always looks good in the laning phase in Lucian, but there's 2 wins and 4 losses.
But look at
the rest of the game.
There, Mithy clicking shield onto him is very impactful. Of course, making full use of his new buy, and great flash from PerkZ as well.
Yeah.
And really nothing you can do as an Orianna, because there was no flash for Caps either during the fight, and he just died.
Yeah, pretty much get wrecked, mate.
Basically, yeah. But it was a 2v1, so nope. You know, it wasn't like
blame him. No, look,
it wasn't embarrassing, right? It was a 2v1. That's fine. We accept it.
It's a good play from G2. Gives them a temporary gold lead. First tower blood will be secured here as Fnatic have no contest yet. Trick, though, coming through the river. There's a roam from PerkZ's Lucian.
Where is a TP ward for Expect? There's
nowhere.
Nothing behind Fnatic, so they can't actually fight them.
He had no equalizer either, so Fnatic, they get themselves tower first blood. Safely, securely, and now Expect, realizing he's in trouble. sOAZ has flash forward. There's a Gnar available after the crunch comes down. Gnar doesn't find the follow-up stun. sOAZ throws down the boulder toss, taking a lot of tower damage. Expect turns, tries to run sOAZ. They die. 1-4-1.
Worth it. Oh, sOAZ, he knew it, man. He was so close. But then he didn't get full 1v1 right there. Mid lane, Trevor. There's another 1v1 happening.
Hey, that culling lasted a whole lot longer than I expected. And Caps doesn't go down, but he's under pressure.
Impressive stamina from PerkZ right there. And walking now down towards the bottom lane. Gotta respect Jesiz. Fully completed his item.
Such a good performance so far from G2. 5 kills to 3. They'll at least respond with the tower. Although the minions are dying relatively quickly. Zven 1 hit away. It's basically dead.
But it's another game, Trevor, where the early game is so even. 27,000.5 to 28,000 gold. Now there will be a bot lane tower dropping here in favor of G2 eSports, getting a small advantage. PerkZ will get onto the mid tower as well, but let's see the 1v1 top. Black Cleaver completed for sOAZ. He wants to start fighting. Expect realizes very quickly, he needs to flash away. Stun, landing there into the wall, just not connecting fully. And sOAZ, at this point, you have to just turn around and go for the kill.
What if sOAZ had gone into the tower with the Gnar? Got the stun, maybe?
Possible. Maybe he was trying to knock him into the wall because there would be a quicker route out of the tower from sOAZ.
Good point. Thinking 2 steps ahead instead of 1.
I mean, yeah, because in sOAZ's mind, he wanted to get out as well. Expect knew he was just going for the kill.
Look, that kill, that 1-for-1 trade, is a synopsis of this series so far. Zven gets a big crit onto sOAZ's head, and Fnatic are sieging down the mid lane. All right, Sapling toss sends a kitty cat out to try wave clear, and dash away. Will at least get PerkZ to safety. The shockwave finds nobody. Barrel is going to send Trick backwards. The culling now comes down, and Fnatic, they basically pick Trick off under tower.
Trick needs to remember that his items right now, they do not make him very tanky. He needs to scale with the Sentinel top lane. sOAZ actually fighting Zven, but looks like Zven gets to walk away. But still, like, Trick, Moby Boots, he was sitting on just a mana crystal right there as well. Like, not that tanky at this point in the game. Jumped into 4 people because he knew that Mithy was on his way, but he wasn't even close. And that was a free kill for Fnatic.
Yeah, very easily picked up. sOAZ, by the way, was trading 1-for-1, trading blow for blow with Zven, but now with Mithy and his Ardent Sensor in lane, sOAZ respectfully runs away. A couple of autos traded back and forth. And while the teams reset, Deficio, I said this a little while ago, and I just want to remind everybody, after the quarterfinals, there's reseeding into the semi-finals. And there's 2 things to remember with that. Now, first of all, G2 and Fnatic cannot meet until the final because of those rules, and that is because if 2 teams from the same group advance, the first seed from their group will play the 3rd seed. So if G2 and Misfits win their quarterfinals, then that means G2 will be playing against H2K because they're 2nd seed. Misfits will play Fnatic. And if a team from Group A and Group B advance, they will play their opponent group. So you never, never, never will see 1v2 in the semi-finals because of those rules. And what that means is if we look at the 2 kings, the European champions, 5-time winners Fnatic and 3-time winners G2, that big question mark, it feels like...
It's actually a very small question mark, but it is important.
It's not the size that matters, Deficio. It feels like H2K could play spoiler to Fnatic or G2. Expect's going to get run down here as Fnatic take out the tower, but it's an exciting prospect.
We also have to remember G2 eSports need to beat Splice in order to even make it to that semi-final against H2K. And Splice right now, they only play 1 game this week. It's a game that doesn't really matter against Vitality. They don't have to show anything.
Oh, look at this. Flash for flash. There's no tower for PerkZ to fall back to. It's caught up by the barrel. Blazing King and Phage. It's a lot of damage onto Broxah. The barrel actually sends him to safety for a few seconds before the boomerang blade shuts him down. And Deficio, while I was rambling and telling stories, Fnatic have got 2 kills and a tower.
Yeah, Fnatic just making sure they keep the goal lead. I do like when Lucian's trying to split push with the advantage. They're very strong. He's very strong 1v1. Problem right there is you also need someone to actually apply pressure mid. That didn't happen right now because we had all the members on the top side from G2 eSports. So PerkZ just ended up getting ganked. Died for nothing. Broxah will get a Cloud Drake as well for the team. And right there, the coordination was a little bit off from G2 eSports, and something they actually need to be able to execute if they want to make this Lucian work. Because step 1 of Lucian is always you need to be able to do well in the laning phase. That is, of course, great.
It is
PerkZ got all his kills. It was fantastic. Now, you don't just win the game off the laning phase. There is so much to do with Lucian now in the mid to late game, especially because you are such a strong duelist with this advantage, and the fact you're going Black Cleaver 2nd as well. If you can't actually use him to win some of these skirmishes, you end up just 5-on-5 team fighting only, and that's where the Orianna wants to be. That's where she shines. He's like, oh great, thank you. Yes, join the 5-on-5s. Don't split push.
Especially when you add in Gnar, Gragas, and Karma, the value goes up through the roof. Also crucial to the split, Deficio. G2 eSports and Fnatic are now tied on total Cloud Drake secured at 22 apiece as Fnatic snuck away their 2nd Drake of the game.
And that's like the important thing for Fnatic.
I mean, it's just season-wide stats.
Winning doesn't matter. Tie the Cloud Drake stat.
Well, they actually want to take the lead in Cloud Drake, so they need another one of the oranges in their favor.
They're fighting. They want to maybe get for Rekkles.
Nice stunned. That timing. Rekkles flashes to safety as well, but he just pops Expect on the head. All right, full channel of the culling. Tags up Fnatic, but the shields keep Fnatic alive as the mid-outer turret is the focus. 2 item spikes, by the way, for most players in the game. Mega Gnar is going to be procced by sOAZ in a moment or 2, and he's got the flash. Let's see how G2 fend off this siege as they're behind in gold. But they're trying to make the tempo play that was negated by Fnatic.
Exactly, just got completely denied there. Rekkles did lose his flash, but the teleport being down from Expect is pretty big here for Fnatic. You know the Gnar is going to win the side lane split push on 2 items. He's already sitting down there, just pushing the bottom lane and getting weed play. That was perfect.
Oh, just so good.
Perfect timing from Rekkles. And now Expect will have a very hard time joining a potential fight because he needs to hold the side lane. He can't really leave with teleport. And it's actually on sOAZ to now always push in his lane and then roam first.
What do you think of sOAZ's build this game? Frozen Mallet,
like
Black Cleaver.
It's good.
He's currently dunking on PerkZ, goes into mini Gnar form, gets the hyper, easily takes down the 1v1. Full trader combo, and he didn't even need to use his flash.
No, yeah, that's really bad for G2 Esports when your most fed champion goes down to the side lane and just gets solo killed by the enemy top laner. This now means sOAZ will actually get a tower as well for Fnatic. And remember, there's still no teleport from Expect, so he can't do anything in the side lane, and this is just Fnatic getting further ahead. And once again, we see some teams really struggle to utilize even a fed Lucian mid lane.
Some teams?
G2 Esports.
Do you want to be a little more specific here?
I wanted to be nice.
I've heard you be critical of the Lucian. And it's not how PerkZ plays it, it's how the team utilizes it, right?
Yeah, I really like when H2K plays it. I think actually that's a very successful pick, but oftentimes we see G2 Esports either not commit to full split push with it, or in this case here, now they're trying actually, it kind of backfires.
This is the 7th time that PerkZ has played this champion the split. He's got 2 wins and 4 losses. We'll see what this game results in.
That being said though, I know we talk about like, you know, sidelane Lucian, I still think he can have value in team fights.
Yep.
It is harder to do it with this champion compared to, let's say, an Orianna. But if you are, you know, making some sick outplays, you can definitely try and actually single out like a squishy target or just focus on killing a tank because you have Black Cleaver. Arrow landing on Trick.
All right, he gets bopped backwards by the barrel, decides to engage with the root. Here comes Expect, looking for Rekkles, fries him alive. So far it's a 1-for-1, but with a damage dealer down for Fnatic, how much trouble are they in? There was no PerkZ nearby. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic, they saw PerkZ move towards the top lane, so they instantly just engage in the mid lane. Let's see what happens now. sOAZ is still around with his ulti.
Shockwave was used though from Caps. Boulder Toss catches Zven. He's got himself a Zeal Static Shiv as well as that Eye Edge. Don't forget the Ardent Sensor buff, but G2 are down in gold, they're down in tempo, and it feels like Fnatic are in control.
And we know Fnatic's team fighting is so good. Last game, we saw them actually outplay G2 Esports in the late game fights. This game here, the draft as well, excels in 5-on-5 team fighting. The Orianna with 2 fully completed items struggle a bit in the laning phase in terms of, you know, dying because she got ganked. The farm is in favor of Caps right now.
Yeah.
He does sit with the Leandris completed, so this is all Fnatic wants to do. 5-on-5 team fighting. They see Lucian top lane. They go straight for the engage. Great setup here. And while there's a kill in return for G2 Esports, you're never going to win the fight.
No, not without PerkZ. So taking a look at the flashes, of course, Rekkles got flash engaged on after the Ashe arrow stun timed out on Trick. You have to wonder, if he'd played defensive, he flashed away from the arrow, what could have been? Regardless of that.
It's always the classic question.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we have to, well, I have to ask it because I'm play-by-play.
Everyone has to. It's a very common question.
It is indeed. It's one that we rarely get the answer to.
Every single time I see someone get hit by a big shockwave and then flash after, I'm always like, I mean, you could have just flashed a shockwave.
Could have indeed. That's why we see G2 behind. All right, Baron, Vision is being contested. Expect his teleport, so does sOAZ. sOAZ is currently Mega Nod pinging on PerkZ. Ashe arrow finds PerkZ out. Here comes sOAZ. He flashes, gets the stun, gets the crunch. All right, the Maokai ultimate flying down the rift. Not only going to root a few members, but that was beautiful.
The coordination is on point. When you see sOAZ leave the bot lane, walk towards mid lane, then the arrow flies. But then you talked about, you know, no flashing before. We got to ask the question again. The reason I think PerkZ did not react here was because he thought Trick would get hit by the arrow. So he didn't flash, he didn't dash, he just got hit by it. He didn't expect anything to actually come and kill him. And then sOAZ shows up to get Baron as well.
All right, Rekkles gets chunked to 50% from the equalizer. Flame Spitter takes him down. No, the shield keeps him alive for a few seconds longer. Resets available for Zven. Caps is the next target. Rocket Jump comes forward and Caps and Broxah are able to escape. But Fnatic get Baron on 4.
Sacrifice Rekkles, second fight in a row where that happens with Fnatic after winning that fight in the mid lane.
That low mobility ADC is getting punished by Expect. Back-to-back team fights.
As long as he shoots an arrow that hits someone and you kill someone, then you don't care. You can die right after. The rest of Fnatic with this super fit Gnar will get the job done. So let's see it again. Arrow flies in, there's flash available for Lucian. I mean, to me it seems like PerkZ just expects Trick to get hit. So that's why he's actually not either dashing or flashing out of the arrow. And then once he gets hit, maybe they didn't expect sOAZ to just randomly show up.
Man, that's just so sick.
He's dead again, by the way.
A tower dive. Okay, that happened. I didn't even see how that happened.
Yeah, Lucian is dead again.
PerkZ got dropped while we were in a replay. Fnatic will take their 4th tower of the game. And Expect also got tagged by an Ashe arrow, by the way. He was caught out in the bottom lane. This means Fnatic can continue their siege. Expect now recalling again. The delay means Fnatic should be able to pick up another tower.
Yeah, they will get the tower. We have to remember the AD carry is not there. So the rest of Fnatic will step away. They know PerkZ is going to respawn. Could have been a 4v5. Rekkles is still sitting in the bottom lane. Let's see what happens top. I mean, they're just hiding in the brush. And at this point, there's not a lot of map control for G2.
Nope.
And suddenly it's very easy to get caught out.
Oh man, and Fnatic are making it look easy. 11 kills, 3-4 items being approached for some of the members. Some tankiness on sOAZ now as well. Even got a stack of armor to deal with this double AD carry comp from G2. And it's just like, the options are becoming slimmer and slimmer and slimmer because even if Rekkles gets caught, between Caps and sOAZ, there's still enough damage.
We have to remember G2 are running a comp with very low engage. Maokai is very much what we call like follow-up engage. He's not the first guy who wants to jump in. So when these comps tend to fall behind, they kind of sit back and they just have to be defensive and do nothing else and wait for the team fight like this one.
All right, sOAZ jumps in, manages to escape to safety. The bomb doesn't take him out. Lockett manages to save his life, but Fnatic, they get the tower. Engage onto Caps. Rekkles is burned down and Trick goes down. It's Jesiz that takes him out. The Cat continues to chase, but it will get dodged away.
And that's what happens when Maokai is trying to be the one hard engaging on his own, because the follow-up from G2 eSports is like a Rumble ulti and some AD carries. They want to kite.
Mega Gnar available. Zven, PerkZ, Mithy. Mithy throws down the Monsoon. That resets the sOAZ engage. And we hear the roller coaster here in Berlin as woes get chanted. Fnatic takes down the inhibitor turret, sets their sights on the inhibitor. sOAZ about to time out from Gnar. Optimistic, doesn't matter. It was a zoning ultimate, if ever I've seen one.
And the kite comp here from G2 eSports with Janna and the double AD carries are just not able to actually pull back in these fights and just start hitting the tank in front of them, because whenever they finally get someone low, the guy flashes out or jumps out, stays alive due to lockets or shields, and then suddenly G2 eSports do not get the kill. This is what they're waiting for. They're waiting for Fnatic to engage. They want to just hit whoever's right in front of them with double AD carry. But then sOAZ gets the shield from Broxah, stays alive, and now a lot has actually been used by G2 eSports. This engage from Trick is not the way you want to play. I know it's a 4v5, but it's very hard for his team to actually follow up, because you got to remember, as an AD carry, when you step forward, there might be a shockwave landing right in front of you. There's a Gragas you got to respect still. You can't just rush forward with all these squishy players on the side of G2 eSports. You want to kite back. I think Trick just said it's 4v5, go for it.
Yep.
Let's try and get a kill.
Try and make something happen. The 10,000 gold down before it. You have to try. And unfortunately, it didn't work. Fnatic in control. This is not their game to lose. They have map control, they have supers, they can play around Baron, and they've got a comp that is very clearly capable of answering everything G2's thrown at them.
Right, and seeing as NIP just beat Fnatic and Fnatic now beating G2, it must tell us that NIP might be the best team in Europe.
They might be. Unfortunately, they won't get a chance to prove it.
No, that sucks. I mean, they can prove it in promotion tournament.
Obviously, we've talked a lot about Fnatic and G2 being in the finals because of the pedigree of these two teams. But in their way stands Misfits, Splice, H2K, Unicorns of Love, all 4 of whom could pull off surprises as we progress through the quarterfinals and the semifinals.
I mean, I think at this point, all H2K memes aside, like, they look like, of course, the strongest of the teams they're going to face. And it wouldn't even be a surprise to me if HBK made the final.
Yep.
Like, they've been playing so well recently. Definitely not looking weaker than G2 or Fnatic at all.
Agreed. And of course, H2K sitting waiting, potentially to play G2 in that semi-final. Guaranteed to play in Paris. So are Fnatic. Just depends if it's in third or in the finals. Broxah throws out the barrel after the hourglass, a lot of damage. Arrow takes him down. Caps is able to pick up the kill. PerkZ, by the way, trying to deal with sOAZ. It's a 5v4 in favor of Fnatic.
That ulti from Broxah was perfectly timed as well, with the hourglass running out, knocking Expect back into then an arrow from Rekkles. Like, again, the coordination from Fnatic are just looking so spot on in this series. They really want this tower now. Expect is dead. Ardent Sensor coming in. And Trick
trying. A little bit of an engage. The cats get thrown out, but Caps has already dropped him down. Zven and PerkZ cannot even get past the super minions, let alone the super champions of Fnatic. With double the kills, more than double the towers, Fnatic take their second inhibitor and back away safely. Fnatic faithful have waited a long time for their team to look this good.
Hourglass comes in, timing from Broxah, shoots it just as he comes out of the hourglass. Arrow follows up, you're dead. We've seen it with teleports now, we've seen it with hourglass. Great timing from the players here of Fnatic, like just good mechanics overall. And using it to get a few more kills against G2 eSports. Almost a 10,000 gold lead. The kiting comp with the double AD carry from G2 eSports fell behind. Never really got to play a team fight on their merits. Never really got to use the Lucian skirmish. They tried. Lucian died. And then everything fell apart because sOAZ on this Gnar looked super good as well.
Yeah, you missed a prime rhyming opportunity there, Deficio.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never really
They
do
tried,
rhymes.
Lucian died, then G2, they cried.
Ah, not bad.
See, not too bad, not too bad.
See, I'm gonna let you do the rhymes.
You shouldn't. They're actually really bad all of the time. G2's backs are against the wall. The last time in the regular season, they will face Fnatic. They're going for the Baron play. Trick is already bursted down. Flash Engage gets the ultimate out. This will slow down the pressure. PerkZ follows shortly thereafter. Broxah and sOAZ running down Zven as the Howling Gale buys a few seconds of time. The blast code kicks Jesiz away. Zven is the target, exhausted out. Jesiz takes him down. Expect tries to roast out Caps. Hourglass is going to keep him alive a few seconds before Rekkles gets the fourth. G2 only have Mithy alive.
Yeah, Broxah stopping Mithy's recall. They got the super minions coming, both mid lane and top lane. Might as well try and get a kill. It is birthday after all. No, flash.
Flash away. Happy birthday, Broxah. Needs to get the final
Mithy, give
kill.
it something.
Fnatic are destroying the Nexus turrets. Fnatic are destroying G2. And Fnatic are finishing the defending champions off.
That is the kind of win you want as Fnatic going into playoffs. Great for confidence. Fantastic coordination from Fnatic in both games we saw here, and a lot of issues for G2 eSports when it comes to these team fights. Fnatic, both games, really had the upper hand right there.
Feels like cleaner games. You know, the few times G2 had a lead, you have to praise the plays G2 made. And you have to question some of the players getting caught out on the G2 squad. Fnatic, how far will their run go? How long has this performance been in the waiting? 18 months since the last time they were able to make it in the EU LCS final.
Yeah, and this is just like one of the best opportunities for them to make it back into the final because, as you highlighted, they can't play G2 in the semifinal. They can't play H2K in the semifinal. They're also on the other side. It is Misfits, Unicorns Aloft, or Splice they have to face in that semifinal. Fnatic will, of course, look like the heavy favorites before the game even starts.
It's really setting us up for great stories in the quarterfinals. And semi-finals. Which teams are going to deliver? And the man on your screen, Broxah, I mean, I voted for him for Player of the Series. It's his birthday, a phenomenal performance, 0-0-10 on that Gragas. It was predetermined he was going to play well. Maxlaw, by the way, in the interview, he said, hey, when players have their birthdays on stage, they always play well. He quoted as fact, And who am I to question Max Law?
You cannot question the pro players.
No.
Everything they say is 100% facts.
Agreed.
Everything.
Agreed.
And Max Law's right. Again.
Jez's tweet. We didn't read it on broadcast, but it showed up there. The high APM, the Ardent Sensor Rush. He got it first.
Yep.
His team won the game. Concrete evidence, ladies and gentlemen. The Fnatic faithful, they've been rewarded.
Yes, they have Trevor, G2 eSports. Rough week, you know, lose to Broxah, then you get 2-0 by Fnatic. There's definitely not a worse feeling than getting 2-0 by Fnatic if you're G2.
G2's sub-squad looks better against Broxah than G2. That's a little unfair. It's a little unfair. But in the last week of the split, the last two series, big question marks for G2 and if they can fix it. Next week is quarterfinals. Yep. They will play on Sunday. Anyways, Fnatic, they stand victorious. After this Clash of Kings wraps up, let's head to the analyst desk to close out the day.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. A fantastic way to close out the day today, I think I have to say. But once again, I want to turn our attention to picks and bans, gentlemen, because I feel like we saw some similar patterns that we saw in Game 1 coming in from the G2 draft phase. And PoE, I want to know what your impression was of the composition that G2 put together in this game.
Well, so it was pretty similar to first game. They have the Lucian as a counter pick, or like they have two winning lanes again. They're supposed to win top lane, and they're supposed to win mid lane early game. And they should use this pressure to either invade topside jungle and snowball the Rumble and tower dive the Gnar, or they should help out the bot lane, since bot lane is losing for G2. And it didn't, like in both games, you could see that the Orianna just outscaled the opponent and outscaled the mid laner. So in both games, it didn't really work out. This game, it worked out a little bit better, since they got the kills with the Janna roam coming in and with the Ardent Sensor coming mid lane, and then just there's
We're going to get to that one in a
second,
because that's my favorite replay, because it literally shows nothing but Ardent Sensor power. But Stress, why don't we saw some early action coming in from Caps, despite the Lucian being a strong pick in the mid lane. I wanted your impression of his Orianna.
Yeah, it looked like a decent matchup still for Caps when it comes to a lot of the trading. We were talking a little bit that a good Orianna can still beat a Lucian early game.
There's a lot of players who say Lucian wins against Orianna, but my personal opinion, I think Orianna can win the lane early game, and she just outscales Lucian completely, so I don't like the Lucian into Orianna. And you could see it in the game that Caps got this little inch of an advantage, where he just gets like a 5-10 CS lead, and the first base, I think. So he gets the free roam bot lane and gets the tower dive on the Janna, which has no flash.
Well, let's take a look at it, because we have a replay of that same exact thing, of Orianna walking to the bottom lane. Now, you've already done your due diligence and explained it, but as perfectly set up.
You can see that she had the first base, so she gets the first push. And I think she clears the ping ward out, and then she started running bot side straight. They know Janna has no flash, so it's pretty easy.
And Lucian does base.
Yeah, Lucian does base, since he lost kind of like the trade, so he needs to like get a reset and recover from the losing trade before. And this is kind of what shouldn't happen for G2. Like the Lucian should try to snowball more harder, or at least prevent the Caps. I'm a little bit getting confused here by the pictures, no, but he should prevent the Caps roam.
Yeah, it's difficult for G2 to prevent it as a whole, but G2 also drafting bottom lanes. Like the Janna is very strong bottom lane when you can get the Ardent Sensor and can play a defensive lane, but against the Karma, the Ashe, they just push, and that's the other half of what's
And Trevor brought it up. Technically, Karma got the Ardent Sensor first, and as we know, solo queue rules, first Ardent Sensor wins the game. But Mithy did put the Ardent Sensor to good use when he just ran down mid lane, shielded up PerkZ, and set up a solo kill. We have a replay of it. Yeah. Let's take a look. And
I think that was pretty smart by Mithy, since PerkZ couldn't really snowball the lane, right? He didn't get any solo kills anymore after that. He was a little bit behind, and this Ardent Sensor room was just like really perfect setup. He had the Blade Power Spike and the Ardent Sensor Power Spike, so they just combined it, and you could see that like it was literally the Ardent's damage that actually pulled out the skill.
This is a plea by Paravival for anybody that matches up as support in his solo queue games. Please run mid once you get Ardent
of course,
Sensor.
like it's free. Free kills.
Or just stop playing Ardent Sensor support.
Or just buy
so
ping wards
can
and set up vision is fine.
I think that the difficult thing, and PerkZ I think will be not frustrated at the game, but where you look at his advantages, you look at how he should be going then side lane, and then suddenly a Gnar walks into the lane with a frozen mallet, a black cleaver, and says, no, you don't get to push this lane either. You don't get to play the side lane. You don't get to play the laning phase. There was only really that period where they could actually move the Janna mid lane, where PerkZ had a significant advantage. So I think that Lucian game will be very frustrating.
Yeah, but it was really difficult as well, since Fnatic has so much engaged. They had the Karma speed buffs, which you get like, a lot of movement speed, and they have the Ashe arrow every time, and they got these engages. Like, I don't think there was a single arrow missed. I think Rekkles did an insane job on hitting these arrows. Even cross map arrows, he hit them, so that was pretty insane. And besides that, they have like the Gragas, so it was pretty good.
Well, you talk about the cross map arrows. Conveniently, player of the series is going to be Rekkles. It was a highly contested vote here at the desk between Rekkles and sOAZ because the arrows may have flied true, but at the end of the day, it was.
Yeah, I think in the second game, he just got so much tempo for the team with like 2 times stopping the Rumble recall and just always hitting the engages. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I got to say, we have to give props to sOAZ as well. That was a very, very close vote, as I mentioned, because the Gnar engages were insane. He won. I mean, yes, he
nearly
had
won
a
every
solo
side
death.
lane.
Yeah.
He almost flawlessly tower dived, but he walked back into turret aggro. I mean, this was an
that was actually really
immaculate
funny.
performance. But Rekkles and sOAZ, two big stars, of course, on the team. A good performance from Fnatic overall. And Fnatic, of course, finished the split with a great win. Let's head over to Pyra, who's ready with the birthday boy.
Thank you very much, Dracos. And yes, happy birthday, Broxah. You got yourself a 2-0 that you had a hand in making. And it sounded like the crowd was definitely chanting it out at the beginning. Did that give you the birthday buff?
Well, it was pretty fun because I was just sitting there in practice tool, practicing some Lee Sin as usual. And then suddenly someone on the team, I think it was Jesiz, said that the crowd was singing or something. And then I just take the headset off and they're singing happy birthday for me. Like, it was crazy. So it gave a good boost.
Certainly helped out this time around. And now you guys had a little bit of a rough start to the week when you lost against NIP. It didn't matter for the standings, but what happened there?
I'm not even sure what happened against NIP, actually. I think it was a combination of us underperforming and them just playing really, really solid. Like, both that draft and how they played in-game was really, really good. And I think they have for sure improved so much during the split. So it was just well-deserved. They played well.
Yeah, they certainly did look really good. And you guys, of course, today really kind of shut out any doubt by taking out G2 2-0. And since this is a matchup that you could very well play again in the playoffs, how important was this on-stage experience, especially when there wasn't anything but pride on the line?
I think this game was more or less just, to see how we stand right now. We wanted to play some of the stuff we know works to, like, get redemption after the series against NIP, and at the same time see how we stand and what we need to improve on before playoffs. So, now we have 2 different series to split that we, or not to split this week, that we can look at, and then we can prepare for playoffs well.
Well, that's totally fair. Were you worried at all that G2 might troll you guys a little bit? PerkZ was stocking up that Yasuo.
Well, to be fair, if they locked in Heimer or Master Yi or Nunu or whatever else there was in the other series, then it would just increase our chances of winning, I think, so we wouldn't mind it.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, so touching back on this matchup, before we send it back over to the desk, you guys cannot actually play G2 until the finals because of the way the reseeding now works. So that would be the only time you'd be meeting them in the playoffs. Do you think that will be the finals?
I think there's a decent chance that we're going to meet G2 in the finals, but at the same time, it's really hard to tell. Like, we can't even be sure if, who gets into the finals in the end. Last split, for example, we were expected to get absolutely destroyed in quarters, and then we just 3-0 H2K and go to semis. So it's really hard to tell what happens on the day, but I'm confident that we are going to finals.
So if you guys are going to be one of the final teams, is there any other team that you're keeping an eye on that you think might just be the ones to get into there, whether it's H2K, Unicorns, anybody else?
I think both G2 and H2K are extremely solid right now, so there's a high chance that we might face one of them.
Well, no matter what, it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup for sure. Now, congratulations and happy birthday once again, Broxah.
Thanks.
All right, back to Dracos and the dudes to close things out.
Teams that have beaten Fnatic in the EU LCS 2017 Summer Split. Ninjas in Pajamas and Rockcat, neither of them are making into the playoffs. Yet another immaculate performance from Fnatic. But I want to take a look at some of the matches coming up in our playoffs. Kicking off with the Unicorns of Love and surprise, surprise, their opponent, Misfits Gaming PoE. We have you here on the desk. This final will, of course, be Saturday, August the 19th. But let's talk a little bit about it, man. Tell me, what are your thoughts? It is destiny. You are doomed to be the former mid laner of UOL versus UOL for the rest of your career. Now, tell me, how do you feel about this matchup? What are your initial thoughts about getting matched up against them?
I think us matching against UOL is for us better than against HGK. I feel like HGK the last weeks performed really, really good. So for us, I like that we face UOL, and I think we can beat them. But UOL is like, I don't know. Even when we get the early leads against them, they just are our mid lane and we have no chance. So I think we need to out macro them and not get into team fights against them, because when you get into team fights against Unicorns of Love, they just, I don't know, they're just like magic. Yeah. Just magic appears and you get deleted. Even when they're 10,000 gold behind, they just win fights.
Okay, I'm just going to say, sorry to cut you off. Dude, you played for this team.
Yes, but...
And they've always been team one to fight. How are you falling into this trap, man?
No, but it's like, it's hard to avoid this trap. Like, especially a few weeks ago, or like even right now, you go a lot of like engage. So they're like, they can just do that. They can just run mid lane and have like the Sejuani and or like a Warwick jungle and a Javan top lane or Shogun with like Glory. So they just run through the turrets and they can just tank 2 turrets and dive us.
I think they're very lucky, Misfits, that tomorrow we're gonna see, in my prediction, H2K show that Unicorns team fighting isn't enough anymore. Because if team fighting is the strength of every team because of the meta, somehow now the Unicorns have to find something else that's a strength. And it's not mid-jungle synergy. It's not jungle top synergy. And Samux is reliable, but only one member of the game. Like, if you can get him off Caitlyn and off Xayah, I don't know what Unicorns have left in the bag.
And to be fair, last time we saw Misfits UO play, it wasn't the best team fighting for Misfits. So I'm curious, if you guys had to play tomorrow, right? If you had to play Misfits versus UO tomorrow, do you feel ready for this matchup? Or is there stuff that you need to iron out, that you need to be ready, that you need to study and prepare for? Or do you think Misfits right now are just the superior team versus the Unicorns of Love?
No, I think we are pretty even. I would say if we would face them tomorrow, I would feel not like overconfident, but I wouldn't like be like in doubt that we would lose, since I think from last week's judgment, I would say that we can easily beat them. And obviously on a good day, I think we should beat them, and on a good day of them, they should beat us. So it's like, I guess it depends.
It
depends on who has birthday.
Asking pro players for predictions.
It depends on who has birthday.
Oh, whose birthday it is.
You and Max drag up the calendar. I'm just saying, every time I ask a pro player who's going to win a game, they're like, it depends on who's having a good day. Well, I hope you both have fantastic days and we get a close matchup. But Power, one thing that may count against you, me and Stress have been talking about it, 7-16. My friend, every one of your champions is getting nerfed.
Riot is nerfing me, actually. Like, no? Riot is actually nerfing me. I don't know, it's insane.
There's actually a number of mid lane nerfs. You're seeing Orianna, Syndra, Taliyah, LeBlanc at the bottom of your screen. You've been playing on this patch on solo queue. I'm curious what your impressions. How big are some of these nerfs? Are any of these champions just taken out of the meta by these small changes?
So to touch on some of these champions, I think Syndra doesn't affect it too much, I would say. Orianna, I think is still playable, but got obviously nerfed. The ultimate hotfix was pretty good, so now she's fine again, I think. Taliyah, I would say it's hard, since you could like rush Banshees, and you don't really have mana, mana problems. But now with the Q-spell nerf, you might have problems there. And the LeBlanc wave clear got really weak. So right now you can't really wave clear, like WQ the wave and run and roam. It's really hard to do it right now. So I would say it's getting a little bit difficult here, guys.
A little more difficult. That's the thing, though. I think the intentions of these nerfs aren't like, hey, every mid lane champion is too strong, let's take them out. It's like, let's attack a couple of little areas that these champions have been strong in and maybe drag them a little further down. One thing that wasn't nerfed, though, Nash's Tooth.
That's true.
So is Nash's Tooth Orianna still viable?
And I think actually this is fine for me, or like good for me, since like with nerfing the meta champions, it makes off-meta picks more viable and more valuable in some situations now.
Which, I don't know. At the same time, man, Exile loves that talent. Exile loves those off-metal picks as well, and I think that's the matchup that we have to look at. Is there, I don't want you to list any specific champions, but is there more potential off-meta picks now that these, kind of like the big 5 or 6, including Corki and Cassio, that have been nerfed that you think might come to the service? They have been small nerfs, but are they enough to, we might see a resurgence to some of these different mid laners?
I think when it comes down to blind picks, it's probably going to stay the same, but on counter picks, I think there can be more off-meta picks now, since the blind picks are not as safe or as strong anymore.
I think the interesting one for me is this may help Azir a little bit, because a lot of those champions that are getting nerfed were bad matchups for Azir in lane. And what is it with Unicorns mid laners and not really playing Azir? Because when you were on the Unicorns, you didn't, but now you do.
On Origin, I was the best. You
did. You spammed it because we yelled at you.
You played Varus was the only champion you were good at on OG. Do not praise him for
but now he does. Now he does.
I was playing AP Kotma as well.
You were preparing for Misfit Series, though. I'm looking through your match history. Lots of Azir in there now. It's all okay. But Exile hasn't really shown it to us a whole lot. So I wonder whether that's a champion that will rise in priority on this meta.
I think just like what you just already pointed out, like Azir and Victor and like all these like old mages, old control mages are kind of coming back. Maybe we can see a Navia or Karthus as well, depending on the matchups, and maybe even Lulu mid lane with Arden Sensor.
All right.
Sounds disgusting.
I'm looking forward to finding out. It's good to hear that it's not as big of a nerf, even if it was kind of a direct nerf to PoE. Well, tomorrow is the final day of the summer split, folks, and with Group B rivals H2K and Unicorns Love facing off in our second series, you're not going to want to miss it. Now, Vitality versus Splice, I don't know what to expect there, but I would like some predictions from you, gentlemen. H2K versus UOL, who's going to take it? What is the scoreline going to be?
So for me, I will 100% watch it because it's really good for us to watch for the playoffs run. I think it's going to be a close match if they both play really serious, and I think right now H2K has the lead, so I would say 2-1 for H2K.
I actually think 2-0 H2K for me. I think they're too good early game. I don't think Unicorns have got the magic to drag the game late.
We're all aware that UOL has a 6-2 record over H2K this year.
I don't know that. I didn't know that.
I just
want to make that clear. Does that affect anything, knowing that historically, at least in the context of this year, H2K have just gotten destroyed by Unicorns Love?
I actually think that some teams are just countering other teams, like play styles. I don't know. You can't release. I don't know. That's not like a, how to say. It's just unconscious. Like you play against a different mid laner, and you just feel like you just outperform him, even if he's not good, or like maybe he's even better. But just because you have a different playstyle, you sometimes just outperform him like really hard. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
And that's where I think this time around for H2K it might be a change in that history, because old narratives on H2K was bad team fighting, bad later game. Sometimes they'd have issues around Baron. I haven't seen that out of H2K in weeks and weeks. I think they've improved in those areas, and I think their early game is significantly strong enough to take it to Unicorns and put them so far behind that the game is out of reach, and that's why I think it's going to be a 2-0.
All right, very fair. Well, we have a 2-1 and a 2-0 in favor of H2K. Let us know what you think at LO Esports. You'll get your chance to vote on social media tomorrow, so stick around. But for now, time for us to call it a night. Thank you so much, and meet us back here tomorrow for the final day of the summer split. We'll see you then.